Some of you guys might know me or have heard what I have to say before. Anybody new? Anybody out there in the background? I've done my research, but I'm here to talk about my personal experience. We're being told that this lockdown is to protect our elderly and our vulnerable. We're being told it's for our benefit. Back at the start of May, my mum was in a care home in Scotland. I had power of attorney, so should have been informed about any medical decisions whatsoever. I spoke to my mum on the Sunday night. I called up the care home on Wednesday, and the day before she'd had a syringe drive fitted with a cocktail of what they called an end-of-life care package. They'd signed a do not resuscitate form, and I was shocked. I found out she hadn't seen a doctor, she hadn't been tested for the virus, she actually had a lot of phlegm in her chest, so it was kind of like a wet infection, not coronavirus like at all. But they took the decision, a district nurse took the decision to fit her with a cocktail of drugs that would kill her. I call this murder. What do you call that? So it's clear to see how they've been getting their numbers to justify these lockdowns. The doctor who signed my mum's death certificate had never seen her and called me up to ask what she was suffering from because he hadn't even read her medical notes properly. Despite the fact she hadn't been tested for coronavirus, he put that she died of COVID-19, along with a couple of other things that I said she was suffering with. I started to get quite shirty with him on the phone, and I said I want answers. I phoned the police, I phoned the Quality Care Commission, I phoned social services. Nobody would help me. Who is responsible for this decision to put my mum onto end-of-life medication? Who is responsible for her murder? And he told me, and I recorded the conversation, he told me, the government. This is the government's guidelines. I took a Hippocratic oath to protect life, and I am being told that anybody over the age of 65 is to be this is his words, left at home, neglected, left to die. Do not send anyone over 65 to a COVID hub. Anybody in a care home that has a slight rise of temperature or any of the symptoms whatsoever have to be put on end-of-life medication. The care packs, the end-of-life care packs, were ordered en masse as we went into the first national lockdown. This is how they got the numbers, folks, to justify locking us all in our house. And what are we dealing with now? You know, for me personally, I had to sit by. I called up, I'm like, you're breaking the Human Rights Act of 98 in 3 different places. How can you do this? And I was told the Coronavirus 2020 Act overwrites our rights. Are we going to stand for that? Are we going to stand for an act that allows chunks of our population to be murdered? You know? No. What's going on? My mum died in that care home with nobody. She wasn't allowed to talk to her family. She wasn't allowed even a telephone call. She wasn't even allowed the last rites. She had the last rites over the phone with a priest. That's all she got. How can we let people die like this? Yes, our old people need to be protected, but that's protection? No. Left in a bed to die on your own? No. Where's your hearts, people? Stand up. Do your research. Why are you letting mass murder take place? Can you really walk about shopping knowing this is going on and turn your back because it's going to be you soon? It's going to be someone you know, someone who affects you. And all those months when I lay at home crying in a heap because of what was done to my mum, that's going to happen to somebody that you know if you don't stand up and take your freedom back. Stand up! Take your freedom back! 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 I've got a challenge for people out there. Go order a coronavirus test kit, open the packet, rub it on an apple, put it in the envelope, put it in the post, and watch the positive result come back. Yeah? That's what we're dealing with. We've got cases because we've got testing. The guy who invented the bloody test said it wasn't to be used in detecting a virus. The virus that has not as yet been isolated. Do your research. They got the death numbers from murdering people. And we're getting their numbers of cases now from all the false tests. Go test an apple. Go test an apple. Rub your kit on an apple. Go see what happens. Stand up. We are the people. We are the power. We are the 99%. Stand up and take your country back. For God's sake. Stand up. Take your freedom back. 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 Stand up. What's it going to take? What's it going to take to make people stop and listen and do a bit of research? Do I have to take all my clothes off, like those people in Wales, to prove just how essential clothing is? Quite frankly, I'm not in the best shape. I'm not very keen to do that. If that's what it takes to make you go home and do a little bit of research, I'll frickin' do it. I got a poncho on. I'm happy to get naked if you promise me you will go and do your research, because I don't want the world that's being ushered in for my children. I do not want my children to have under 24/7 surveillance in smart grids. I do not want that. For God's sake, while we have time, please turn off your telly and do some independent research. Stand up and take your freedom back, because people have died. People have died for the rights that we have. The Human Rights Act of 1666, people died for that. You know, the Magna Carta that was put in place by Alfred the Great. These things have been in place for more than 400 years, so they're a custom of our country. The Magna Carta has been in place for over 800 years. How can you repeal that? Not even put it before Parliament. It's unlawful. Stand up for what is right. Think. Stand up for what is right. Do not consent to this tyranny. Do you know, the whole time this has gone on, I have never, ever, ever put a mask on my face. I have never, ever, ever worn a lanyard. And in the whole time, I've had one shop, which was TK Maxx, that has challenged me on it. Because I've walked in there, in my heart, knowing that I'm doing the right thing, not prepared to take crap from anyone, and people do not challenge a strong person who is in their heart and knows they are doing the right thing. So take your lanyards and your masks and bin them, and go up